Institutions always have something or multiple things that they are doing well. Tell us what you are doing well, where you have excellence. The next one, where do you think you need your improvement? Where, based on this process, do you need to focus on an iterative or better process to meet these standards? And then finally, what are your challenges? And challenges are things that really affect the performance of your institution, but you have very little control over. And challenges could be things like weather or the economy or shifting demographics or politics, or even say, oh, I don't know if this ever happened, a pandemic. We have precious little control over those things, and that can sometimes be a challenge for our institutions, as I'm sure we are all very much aware of. Um, our next section are the assurances. We've mentioned this several times, but they are critical, absolutely critical. They are yes, no responses in an online diagnostic where you'll answer yes or no to between 8 and multiple questions, depending on your type of institution. They do align with the institution type, and there are some documents that you'll use to support your answers for several of the assurances. Very important. You can be successful in a candidacy review without meeting all of the assurances, but they must all be met for your engagement review. They must all be yes when you start your engagement review. So keep that in mind. We'll show you what that looks like very shortly. The protocol is generally a half day to 1 day. The institution will provide an overview at the beginning of the candidacy review, which means you get to spend about 30 to 45 minutes with the evaluator and say, this is what we are, this is what we're doing, this is what our institution is about. The evaluator will likely want to speak with your stakeholders. They will likely want to review evidence. They will maybe conduct and want to conduct some classroom observations. And at the end of the candidacy review, they are going to spend some time with you and say, this is what I saw. This is what I observed. And this is the information I've gleaned from this particular candidacy review. You will then not get a result right that day. They have to write a report for the candidacy review, so you'll have to be a little patient. But this schedule will be developed collaboratively with you and your evaluator. They will not show up and surprise you. They will not show up and say, okay, suddenly go grab me 5 students. Everything is planned. Everything will be scheduled so you know exactly what's happening during the process. Your evaluator will work very closely with you to create that schedule, coordinate logistics, address any concerns for preparation, and make sure that you are ready. They will make sure you are ready for this process. Some of the logistics may include some cost items. If an evaluator has to add mileage or needs accommodation, or things of that nature, it depends on your location and what the where our evaluators are. They'll work that out with you and your regional staff. So make sure that that communication is strong. That overview presentation at the top includes what your priorities and goals are. What information did you use to set those priorities and goals? How are you doing with those goals? And how did you measure your success in those goals? And that's frequently based on those key characteristics. That presentation, you can be a PowerPoint or it can be verbal. It can be conducted in any mode that you think will be most successful for you, but do prepare 30 to 45 minutes for that presentation that talks about the reality and the standards in your institution. There is very likely going to be stakeholder interviews. They're generally about 45 minutes. They may want to speak with teachers, learners, potentially community members. They will work with you to put all of that together. And they'll like to probably walk around your institution and see learning environments. They may, during the actual candidacy review, ask for clarification or perhaps additional information to clarify things. They will not be playing gotcha. They will not arrive at your institution and say, okay, show me this, and this. All of that will be done before they get there. And they will review that evidence before and during the review. Sometimes there are gaps. They'll say, oh, we didn't cover this. Let's see, do you have anything about this? And that's the extent of it. We don't play gotcha. After the review, you do get an exit review meeting with the evaluator. It's generally 30 minutes or so. They will then produce the report. The candidacy review report will be produced and sent through our quality assurance process and will be provided to you with your recommendation. It then goes to our global commission, which meets quarterly, and the global commission makes the final determination of whether you are considered to be a successful candidate or if they feel that you need to go back and do candidacy again. Once you are a successful candidate, you will start the self-assessment phase in preparation for the engagement review, and you will have much cognitive support to walk you through and get you through that process. Now, we've made a lot of comments about diagnostics, and those are the online things that you fill out. How am I doing on time, Nicole?
You've got time. You've actually got 5 extra minutes than what we were planning. So,
all right. So what we do is I'm going to stop sharing and then I'm going to reshare in just a moment. And I'm going to show you what those diagnostics look like. So
Bill, can you show them how to get there from the Cognia website as well?
Absolutely, I will. So I'm going to open up just a new tab, and I'm going to go to the Cognia homepage to start with. And this is what you'll see if you go to the Cognia homepage. Okay, here we are. This is cognia.org. And you can access the My Journey page here. Where you go is you are going to go to
Log in.
And you get a drop-down menu. You'll see My Journey right here. That is how to access it. And that screen, when you click on My Journey, looks like this. Then you provide your credentials. In this case, I'll go ahead and log in and provide my credentials. And when I log in, okay, my computer lagged, sorry. It will take me to this screen. Yours will not look like that. Yours will look like this. This is your institution. And when you log in, it will look like this. And this is our demo. When you are doing a candidacy review, you are going to access the diagnostics, which will be loaded in for you. The diagnostics can be done through here, this menu here on the left-hand side, or you can scroll on down to where it says Go to Diagnostics. And I'm going to click on Go to Diagnostics. And it's going to look for them, and there they are. Those are my 3 diagnostics that I see for my candidacy review. The first one we'll do is the executive summary. To access this diagnostic and to enter the information, you go to the executive summary and you go to the ellipses menu right here. You click on that and you're going to open the diagnostic.
Bill, before you get into the details of this, I want to really quick explain the access. So right now, if you went into your platform, you might not be able to see what Bill is seeing. And the reason why is we typically assign these diagnostics once we know you actually have a scheduled review. And so if you go in and you don't see them, that's because you haven't been added to the schedule. And so that's something you would ask your regional office, and then they would be able to assign those diagnostics to you.
Very good. All right. So we've entered the executive summary. You scroll down. Now, if this little blue button says open diagnostic instead of lock diagnostic, click it to open it. If you click it again, you're going to lock it. So in this case, ours is already open. In this case, you provide the demographic information. So the name of our institution, we put this in here. I'm going to call this Cooper High School. And that's our telephone number. And the head of our institution is Cooper Cooperston. And that's his email or her email, grades served, and the number of students enrolled. You need to fill out those little boxes there. You just simply type into the box. Then for the executive summary, you scroll on down. These are the 11 writing points you need to address. What you'll do is you'll simply go down to this text box here and copy, paste from your Word document. I strongly discourage you from creating original work within the diagnostic. Do it in a Word document and then copy and paste it in. This system will save your work. However, if you lose connectivity while you're entering information, and it happens on occasion, Nicole, do you sometimes lose connectivity?
Yes.
Yes, you do. I do as well. But if you lose connectivity and you're composing work in this diagnostic, you may lose information, and that's very frustrating. So make sure. So in this case, you see Cooper High School has put in their executive summary. We scroll all the way down and see all that information that they put in. When they're done, they hit send to workspace. Bottom left here, send to workspace. That must be completed to mark that off your list. So I click send to workspace, and it's going to say, do you really want to do this? And I want to say, absolutely, I want to do that. And off it goes. Then I can go back using this top left-hand arrow, not the big one, up, the little one up here, but this blue and white bar. I'm going to go back. And I see that my executive summary is complete, and it's going to give me a little blue check mark with the status. I'll be honest with you, we've already completed these ahead of time, so that's why they all have the blue check mark. Our next one is the assurances. The assurances for this diagnostic is for schools. If you are a system, it's going to say system. If you are digital learning, it'll say digital learning assurances. Make sure it's the right one. It'll be preloaded for you. But if you see something wrong, reach out. So I'm going to open the assurances here, and I'm opening that up. I don't have to open it because it's already open. It gives you instructions for a school and for every institution. You'll have these basic assurances. These are the school assurances. Different types have additional assurances. So first of all, if you've read and understand and comply with Cognia policies, you put yes. If the answer is no, you don't agree with Cognia policies, it's going to be a very short accreditation process. So do mark that one yes. Do you comply with all laws and regulations? We certainly hope that's a yes. You mark that there. The third one, do you adhere to ethical marketing and communication practices? You can mark that yes if you do. The evidence there is generally a website. Here is one of the first ones where you're going to note evidence. The governing authority adheres to written policies in regards to its behavior and conduct. Yes. And here's where you'll be adding information or providing information. You're going to make a link or an addition to the government, the governmental authority, governing authorities' policies. Then this next one is tricky. Pay close attention to this one because it matters. Public schools and charter schools and many schools in the US get this process done automatically by county or state governments. But the assurance is the institution annually submits financial transactions for an annual audit. private schools, some non-public schools, they sometimes struggle with this because the evidence for this is a letter from a third-party accounting firm or accounting authority that says you comply with financial practices, with strong financial practices. We don't need the data and numbers. We simply need the letter that says it's been conducted and you are in compliance. Public schools in the US, you get a pass. The county or state does it for you every year. But again, that evidence is important. This must be met. Number 6, do you have a security and emergency management plan? We also need that as evidence if you mark yes. And then finally, do you participate in required training or certification timelines prescribed by Cognia? You are meeting that right now if you are here. We do require, this candidacy training is optional, but we do require engagement review training as part of an assurance. So you all can mark this as yes. Now, I mentioned attachments, and I'm going to show this quickly, but we will help you later on if needed. When you're attaching evidence, if you, for example, let's say you have your policies. Sometimes policies are 1,000 pages long. That's a big file. If you would rather put in the link, you can. But to add an attachment, you click Add Attachment here in this box. And here you can drag and drop. And in this case, I'm going to drag and drop a file from my desktop. And there it is. There's our accreditation and certification policies. I'm going to call this the policy document. I've got to put in a description. My description is policy document. If you don't fill this out, you're unable to save it. And then I'm going to hit next. And you can add a section, but you can simply at this point click save, and it's saved. There it is. There's the policy document. Now, if I wanted to add an attachment that was super large, in this case, I'm going to click on a link, and it's okay to use a link. So if you want to use a link, that's fine. And in this case, I'm going to put you to cognia.org and say, this is our PD plan. It's hundreds of pages long, and it's very detailed. So this is going to be the PD plan, and I've provided the link. I click next, I hit save, and now I have the PD plan. And when I click on that link, it takes me to my PD plan, which is actually the Cognia homepage for our demonstration. All right. So those are the basic ways to add an attachment. You want to include that evidence for the assurances. Now that we're all done with the assurances, I'm going to send this to the workspace because it's all ready to go, and off it goes. I go back and we have one last diagnostic to complete, and that is our school and system candidacy diagnostic. I'm going to open that up. And Nicole, I'm being long-winded. I'm going to hurry. So in this case, here is where you enter your ratings for your standard, either sufficient or needs improvement. You simply mark the radio dial, which is appropriate. It goes through all of the standards, pardon my scrolling. And then when we get to the bottom, here is where you say, this is our areas of excellence. Again, copy and paste from a Word document. Areas for improvement, copy and paste. What are our challenges? When you're completed, you send it to the workspace and everything is golden, and then you are done. You have completed all of your diagnostics. That is a fast and furious demonstration of how you do these 3 diagnostics. If you get stuck, reach to your evaluator, reach out to your regional director. Nicole, do you have the regional director contact information?
Let me grab that real quick.
All right. You can reach out to your evaluator or your regional director, depending on who is available for you. So that is how that workspace operation functions. And I know that was fast, but it is actually quite intuitive. We can help.
Yeah, so Liliana, you might not have those diagnostics because if you might not have anything at this point because the office assigns those once they know that you have a candidacy review scheduled. So you won't see those same 3 until they know you're ready. Okay, so I just put the link to the Find Your Local Contact. And then I'm seeing several questions about the training certificate. So assurance number 7 is really actually referring to the engagement review training, which once you've successfully hosted a candidacy review, that's your next step in the process is to begin preparing for your engagement review. And so you'll take a training that does offer a certificate. Since this candidacy review training is not a requirement, we don't offer a certificate. But if you'd like to mark yes that you took it, and then just in the comments or just letting your evaluator know I attended a blank day, then that's perfectly fine.
Absolutely. You've done the work. You've
Yes.
attended our session. You can mark yes and say, call Bill and Nicole, they'll vouch for me.
Mhm.
All right. We've got about 3 minutes or so for some open questions. If anyone's feeling brave and wants to unmute or needs some clarification, feel free to do so.
And real quick, I'm going to put the slides into the chat because I know that that was something we had promised you at the beginning. So these are the slides in the chat. And then I'm also going to put a link to a survey so that you can provide us with some feedback.
We take your feedback very seriously. Every session we conduct, we say, what can we do better? What did we do well, but what can we do better? And these sessions change based on feedback and what you say. So we do appreciate you taking the time. Shinlui has asked where we can find the training of the Canvas classes. Absolutely, we have that link. We shared it earlier. I think Nicole probably has it handy.
Yes, let me grab that. So, and just to clarify though, for everyone that the Canvas classes that we have, these are for the next stage in the process. So if you haven't hosted a candidacy review yet, we really would want you to hold off on taking this next training because it might become overwhelming for you. But I'll give it to you as a record if you would like to take that.
Sarah asked a question about how can one be on a cognitive review team? Great question. The document that we shared about your regional director contact, give them a call, give them an email. I am sure they would love to hear from you if you are interested. Not every engagement review requires a team. Some states, some locations do require volunteers as a team, but not all. Reach out to that regional director and they will set you up and see if they have availability. Great question. That's how I got into the business. I was a teacher and I got recruited to be on a team in my first one in 1991. And it was a wonderful experience. And it led eventually to a career with Cognitive.
Hi, my name is Ziva.
Hi.
I have a question. Do we have to, other than these 3, the standards, the assurances, and the executive summary, we don't have to work on anything else, right? I mean, like collecting the data, from where did we collect the data? We don't have to we don't have to show them how and from where. Just the summary, that's it, right? Just 3 things.
Those are the 3 requirements for candidacy. Absolutely.
Thank
But
you.
you are correct. Make sure you go from that workbook and look at all those activities to help support what you put in those 3 diagnostics.
Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. We are at the end of our time. Thank you. And Nicole, thank you for your participation, and despite your internet difficulties, appreciate you being here. Everyone, we do appreciate your participation. Please take time to respond to the survey, and you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the week. Best wishes for your candidacy review. Take care.
Bye, everyone.